I'm Rhod Gilbert, stand-up comedian. People tell me I've got the toughest job in town, but I'm sure I'd find other things far more difficult. So I'm ditching my regular job and trying something completely different. This is my work experience. And this week, I'm a fisherman. In a few days' time, I'd be going out to sea as a commercial trawlerman from the pretty Devon port of Brixham. But before I was allowed to dip a toe in the water, I had to go along to Milford Haven Leisure Centre, and I was already worried. Any job where you have to do a mandatory survival course sets my alarm bells ringing. Course tutor Greg had spent more time at sea than the Mary Rose, and knew more about staying alive than the Bee Gees.
Okay then, Rod, what fishing experience do you have to date?
Rock pooling.
Rock pooling. And familiarity with boats? What's your experience with boats?
Car ferry.
You could fit everything I knew about sea fishing on a clam's wang, but Captain Greg's eye immediately put me at ease.
The death rate in the industry is horrendous. If you did a full career in the commercial fishing industry, you've got a 1 in 14 chance of drowning at sea.
1 in 14 chance of drowning.
Correct. So you've decided to do the most dangerous job in the UK.
I wondered whether Captain Greg's eye's dinner party banter needed a bit of work.
Okay, what I'm going to talk about now is the things that are going to kill you.
A cross between Popeye and Nostradamus, Greg was a right old Popadamus, and his chirpy death presentation was giving me a real lift.
Rod, the biggest killer in the industry is cold water shock. If you suddenly fall into cold water when you're not expecting it, your brain becomes disconnected from your nervous system. You lose the ability to hold your breath. You lose the ability to swim. You're buggered, you're going to drown, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Popadamus's fun-packed course got even grimmer. Apparently my boat could sink and I'd find myself all alone in a life raft. Luckily, he had everything I'd need to make my survival cruise more memorable. It was like a North Korean party bag, with survival canapes.
Well, you call it food. I would stick legs on it and use it as a very small table.
Walkie-talkies.
Who are you going to talk to?
My agent.
They won't get you out of there.
A little tub.
To remove any excess water from the life raft, or also for collecting any liquids.
Or solids.
And I suppose solids as well, yeah. Bucket and chuck it.
Bucket and chuck it. Seems odd when you're in a survival situation on a life raft to have catchphrases.
It even had a little thing to stop the boat that saved you from the sinking boat from sinking.
You just bung that in a hole in the raft.
Exactly. And then there's a full-size puncture repair kit with glue and everything else. But you need to have a dry area to do that.
Is that quite hard when you're in the middle of the sea?
Yes, very hard. The next thing we'll look at, which will probably be of great interest to you, those.
Suicide pills.
Not quite.
Seasick tablets. I have never set foot on a boat in my life without being seasick.
Get involved with the fishing and you might not be seasick.
If I'm really sick, will they turn back?
No.
Even if I'm throwing up everything I've got in me, I'm like a little evaporating leaf.
It ain't gonna happen.
Bastards.
I get seasick listening to Brian Ferry, so this was really bad news. But there was no time to dwell on it.
Okay, so here we have a survival suit. You have to be able to put this on together with a life jacket in less than 2 minutes. Go.
I think I'm going to take my shoes off for this. If I was going to be allowed out to sea, I had to pass the practical elements of Popadamus's survival extravaganza.
Get the hood on. 1 minute. Minute and a half.
No.
You've got 30 seconds left. Come on. Yeah, good. Well done. And that extends your survival time. Inside there, you maybe last a week in sea temperatures we've got now.
I don't want to spend a week in this, though.
Do you want to live?
I want to live this quality of life as well.
I hoped I'd never have to use that live-in Portaloo for real, but I'd passed the first stage of the course. As we moved to the pool for the final tests, I could tell Popadamus was going to push me to my limit.
You're going to make an entry into the water, hold the jacket down, pitch your nose to stop the water going up your nose and into your head. For similar reasons, you don't want cold water entering any other holes in your body. So when you're stepping off, clench your cheeks. Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
We've got one of those little black screen.
Okay, off you go.
My heart was pounding like a coked-up hamster.
Okay, you set?
Deep breaths. Deep breaths. Don't look down. Don't look down.
In you go.
Popadamus was determined to make me fail. He'd already thrown me in at the deep end, but there was more deep and end to come.
Hopefully this is all you'll ever see of a life raft, the outside canister.
I'd proved I could abandon ship, provided it was 1 foot tall and by a heated swimming pool. For my final test, I had to leap from the side and climb into a life raft.
In this instance, I'm your captain. You wait till I tell you to abandon ship. Okay, I'll be waiting for the last possible moment. Okay?
What are you going to do to me?
We'll see. Go on, get over there. The weather's bad and we're sinking. Get ready to abandon ship.
Unlike the sea, the pool was as calm and still as a monk's Y-fronts, so Greg hit me with ice-cold water. This was pure adrenaline-fueled insanity.
Abandon ship! The howling gale! Come on then, get in there, quick as you can! It's still rough, it's still cold, it's still wet. Well done!
I was now legally entitled to go fishing, but after Greg's PowerPoint charts of doom and death drills, I was more convinced than ever I didn't want to.
I think when I arrived this morning, my biggest concern was seasickness. But after today, I'm literally 100% sure I'm going to die.
I left Greg handing out leaflets on life expectancy at a children's party, and scampy down to Brixham ready for some fishing, or as Greg had called it, dying. Head of the local fishing cooperative, Barry, had kindly agreed to let me die on one of the trawlers in his group.
Well, this feels like the start of a prison sentence.
You'll be fine.
But before I did anything, Barry treated me to a trip to the fish market. He told me to keep a close eye on the auctioneers and the bidding. I had no idea what my eyes were listening to, or why Barry'd brought me here, until he dropped a bombshell.
This is the most important bit. You'll be doing the selling, and you've got to get as much money for your product. You get this wrong, you don't get paid zero.
Bollocks. Things were getting shitter by the minute. Not only was I going to die at sea, but now I'd have to sell all the fish when I got back.
I am feeling very out of my depth. I didn't expect to be following it through from catching the fish to coming to a marketplace, an auction, and trying to sell. Selling really is not my forte. And it's put a little bit of a different spin on going out on that boat.
Any fish I'd bring back to auction would be caught from a boat called the Jerry Ann Sea. Barry took me to meet its skipper, Richard. We found him on the side bit, mending nets with a thing. At just 14 years of age, Richard was living proof of how hard fishing is.
Cheers, mate.
So you're all ready?
I'm with you. Don't look me up and down like that.
I'd only just met him, but I could tell young Richard was the kind of guy who'd look after me if I got seasick.
Do you turn back for people if they're really bad?
No. You'll be staying with us for the day. We've got a nice big bucket. You make the noises, I'll laugh.
The little scamp told me to go away and come back at 4:30 next morning ready to go fishing. But like a man with hemorrhoids about to go pony trekking, I was having second thoughts.
Dangerous things happen. Dangerous things happen. Dangerous things happen. You're buggered, you're going to drown. You're buggered, you're going to drown. You're buggered, you're going to drown. Lethal, 100% expectation of death.
Next morning, I drafted my will and downed enough seasickness pills to kill a pilot whale and hurried down the docks for our 4:30 departure. But I can't have been as keen to die as I thought because I arrived at 4:36.
You failed your first mission.
I know. I'm here, I'm ready to go though.
Right, let's get on the
Ready to
boat.
go. What?
On the boat.
On the boat.
On the boat. Push!
I can't push this thing off.
Push! Push!
While skipper Richard and deckhand John took us out to sea, I expected to vomit myself inside out. But as we left harbour, my inside stayed inside in. Weather-wise, I'd lucked out.
Massively relieved.
Just flatter than my missus's ironing board.
It's the old fisherman's banter there. It's flatter than my missus' ironing board. Yeah.
Between them, Richard and Big John had seen more fish than Pingu's potty and knew where to find them. The sun was coming up and I was still alive, but as the new boy, it was clear I was last in the pecking order.
Anti-seagull protection gear.
Why do I need that?
You'll have your hand off.
Who will?
Friggin' seagull.
Oh, shit.
He'll be well angry. He'll try and bite you. Reassure him. Then grab him by the neck.
Freddie the seagull had got himself trapped on board, and I knew exactly how that felt.
It's just gone 5 in the morning. This is not my usual day, I have to say.
Unlike me, Freddie was free to go, because like a lobster who's been totally thermodored, I wasn't going anywhere. By 5:30 a.m, we reached our first fishing ground. The boys leapt into action like salmon, while I stood on the side like a lemon wedge.
Yeah, a little bit more, then we're going to take the weight on the other rope. Righto, stop, stop, stop.
The closest I've come to manual work is reading the instructions on my massage chair.
Do that up.
Do that up.
Keep going till it goes tight.
Yeah.
Now undo it.
Undo.
Yeah. So keep your fingers out of anywhere that moves.
Yeah.
There it goes.
At the moment, I have absolutely no idea what's going on.
Those big metal weights, they're the otter boards. They'll make the trawls spread open. As they're dropping down, they're also pulling their way out. That opens the net along the seabed.
Why is that?
That's where the fish are.
With the nets out for 3 hours, I suggested we go home to bed and come back later. But Richard was a right old taskmaster.
If you could have a clean up around the boat, wash all the weed and shit and everything over the side, hoses up the starboard side on the bow.
Starboard side on the
Starboard
bow.
side.
Which one's starboard?
Port, starboard.
Right. Port?
Port.
Yeah, how am I going to remember it from doing that?
Red port, you must stick the port back in your neck, don't you, when you're out?
Yeah, but I don't always use my left hand to do it.
Well, you don't.
What if I use my right hand to drink port?
It's the colour. Port you drink is red, some port on the boat is red.
What do you mean port on the boat is red?
The light on the left-hand side is red.
What's that got to do with my left hand?
Nothing.
Right.
No, left. Stern's at the back,
Yeah.
bow's at the front.
Bow is at the front.
Bow.
Oh, you bow, yeah.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Every time you see me,
Yeah, okay.
because I'm the skipper, you're the decky learner.
You're the skipper, I'm the
Bow.
decky learner. Yeah, we're in no doubt about that.
I was as confused as a footballer trying to feed bread to a toilet duck. But Richard insisted I do his dirty work.
I think Richard's giving me these kind of menial things to do to break me down. Because I'm the lowest of the low, the decky learner. This feels like a totally pointless task. It's going to be absolutely filthy again in seconds. Ah! Even on a day like today where the sea is totally calm, I'm losing my balance, I'm hitting my head. If this was rough, it'd be absolutely horrific.
Like an anal worm, I was having to start at the bottom and work my way up. Richard put the C into Bossy, the fish into a Fishes, and the dick into Richard. He was a right old bossy fish dick.
Done that one.
Don't touch it, you're smudging the inside. Shane, he can't hear me. Let's see. Rich! Rich! You're a proper dick. You're a proper dickhead, yeah? Total bellend.
If only I could hear what he was saying.
Next, bossy fish dick demanded his breakfast. He had me waiting on him hand and foot, and sausage.
You should never prick sausages.
Never prick sausages. Is that what your mother taught you?
The fat helps it. Cooks the meat.
You stick to fish, all right? I know my way around a sausage. At the bottom of the food chain here, it goes Richard, he's the captain, John, he's the deckhand, then fish, then there's the seagulls, and then it's me. There's yours, all right? There's captain's, there's half of one there. There's John's, the deckhand sausage, and then that little crusty bit there is for Rhod the cabin boy. Yeah? Is that how it works?
I'm really proud.
Time flies when you're having fun, and what felt like 4 years later, it was time to bring in the nets, and bossy fish dick was worried about the haul.
Yesterday was poor. It was break even or just below break even.
Just below break
It
even.
was terrible, yeah. I wouldn't have thought we earned much at all. We've changed the fishing ground slightly. Money fish is what we want.
Money fish.
Yeah, money for like prime fish. Fingers crossed it'll be all right when we all. We're going to find out very shortly.
The nets were about to come in. No wonder fish dick was nervous. He was after money fish, and they don't exist. But it did explain why I'd seen him trying to get 20 haddock from a cash point the night before.
I have no idea quite what to expect, except to say that the more fish there are, the messier it's going to be. Equally, the more fish there are, the more we get paid. It's been quite a surprise to learn that you can slog your guts out all day, come home with nothing. There's not many jobs like that.
If the nets came up empty, all the sausage-cooking, shit-hosing, death-risking seagull saving could be for nothing.
There's a lot of moving bits and heavy clanking and things going. Quite a dangerous environment.
Yeah.
You do get the idea if something touches you when it shouldn't touch you, get out of the way.
It's a good rule in life, that is. If something's touching you that shouldn't be touching you,
Especially in a
move.
pub.
There's a lot of fingers near a lot of clanking. I don't like fingers and clanking go together.
Must be a Welsh saying.
As our first haul came in, we all hoped to see money fish, or at least a mermaid with some gift tokens. But either way, our loot was being looted.
I tell you what, if we did have any fish in there, we're not going to have many by the time those seagulls are finished. We must have something in there. Look, is that a good sign?
It's a 50-50 sign.
Look at them diving there. It's incredible.
We weren't sure it was the high-value stuff we were looking for, but the nets were full. I hadn't seen that many fish since Bossy Fish Stick made me tip out his pyjamas.
Wow. Wow.
Pull that.
Wow. Is that a lot?
That is better than the whole day's fishing yesterday. That's how up and down it is. So we just got to hope now that we can keep it going.
It's a very odd thing. I'm very ambivalent about it. On the one hand, the fishermen, they earn a living, but it's a sort of tragic sight as well to see all these fish on top of each other in a fairly undignified state.
They've spent all their life waiting for today.
I'm sure they have. I'm sure this feels like the big day for
I
them.
was so pleased it was us that caught them and no one else.
Ka-fish-ching! The fish tills were ringing with money fish. I hadn't seen that many glassy-eyed corpses since the BBC Wales Christmas party.
So what are these, Richard?
They're lemon soles.
Lemon sole.
That's what the money is. That's our good money fish.
That's what we're fishing for.
Lemon soles, dories. That's a John Dory.
But I do have to say, lemon soles are damn hard to pick up.
So they've got some handles. So if you put your thumb over the handle, you pick them up easily.
The eyes.
Oh, is that what they are?
The eyes. They're not the windows to the soul. They're handles.
To the fish basket.
That's a weaver fish, right? See the black spines on his back?
Yeah.
Don't poke them.
You could
Right.
die.
Really?
Yeah, you can do, yeah, if you're allergic.
Shit. Have you stabbed yourself with one?
Yes.
You have? You stabbed yourself with a weaver fish?
It was only my size when he did it. That's the swelling.
Amongst the money fish, there was some small change. Too small to land, by law we had to throw them back.
Oh, look at that. It's a little fish with a starfish friend. I'm going to try and release the two of them. I'm hoping they're going to ride off into the sunset like Butch and Sundance.
The hungry seabirds had us surrounded, but Butch Haddocky and the Starfish Kid prepared to make their escape.
It's a bit like Zulu. The odds are stacked against you. So you're going to swim, my little friends. Swim. Don't look up. Do not look up. Just go for it.
My two young friends hadn't made it. I was gutted. I felt like my insides had been ripped out. Which, ironically, was exactly what Bossy wanted me to do to the rest of the fish. If I was going to be of any use, I had to toughen up and grow some pollocks.
Hold them by the handles. Cut it across. Lift it all out. Cut it off.
Bossy Fish Stick and Big John were dab hands at gutting, but I was left floundering. The fish were slimier than Peter Stringfellow in a sardine skin mankini.
I can't pick the bugger up now. He's making a very late break for it, this one. Ah! Don't laugh. It's really horrible because to get a grip on this enough to get the guts out, you've really got to grip onto his eyes. And there's something about gripping onto anybody's eyes.
Handles.
Handles.
Please get the terminology correct.
Where do these go? Where's the bin?
You're stood in it.
In the last 45 minutes, all of these fish have been gutted. It's no exaggeration to say that I did less than 6.
While Bossy Fish Stick shot the nets for our second trawl, Big John and I stored our catch. Oddly, fish that looked like a dog's dinner wouldn't sell at auction, while ones that looked like the dog's bollocks would, so we laid them out nice on ice. To ensure we got the best price when I got to market, I'd also have to get to grips with selling my soul.
Welcome to Rhod Gilbert's slightly inappropriate cookery show. If you're cooking with fish, not sure if it's Dover sole or lemon sole, just pop it against you like that. If you can do that with it, that's Dover sole. Your lemon sole, however, easy way to tell the difference.
I'll remember that.
Remember that if you're cooking sole at home.
It was only 11 a.m. and our second haul was in. More fish ching. Maybe it wouldn't all be for nothing after all. I was moving from decky learner to a learned decky.
That's the second time I've seen it, but it's still impressive. I am a completely different person from the one that got on this boat. So I already feel like I know what I'm looking at. I know what we're going to do with it. Place! Front! Lemon. That is a John Dory. Perfectly nice one. You, sir, go away, grow up, come back in a few years.
Less than halfway through the fishing and I was already totally sea-bassed. I smelt like a marine latrine and was greasier than a herring's headrest.
Hey, Rod, time to cook some lunch, mate.
You are?
But despite still being all at sea, I wasn't feeling all at sea anymore.
Oh, fuck! All right, Captain.
Wow, it's a good job he's got a nice day, that's all I say.
As I spoilt my hungry seaman with tarts, I finally felt like one of the crew.
Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Good trip.
Cheers.
Bob.
It's good fishing, good company.
May the next hole be favourable.
May the next one be our last.
Well, we might just have to have one more because you was late this morning.
Terribly late when I rocked up at 4:36. Just so late.
I was now a cog in a well-oiled machine, eating at the captain's table. He even showed me his favourite toy.
I've invented a seagull scarer.
That is a serious high-tech bit of kit.
That is high-tech, it doesn't harm them.
How confident are you that your seagull scarer works?
I reckon 100%.
100%.
Yeah.
All right. This was your cherry bacon. I know you've had your eye on it. I'm going to put that on the front. Have you got the faith?
Yeah, I'm ready. Right.
There was no way the greedy gulls would resist my cherry-top temptress. Welcome to the Great British Beak-Off.
Come on, seagulls!
Seagulls, 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 seagulls.
Come on! Isn't that here? If we were in Cardiff city centre now, we'd be pestered by the things. Isn't that how it is?
But are there any of these seagull scarers in Cardiff city centre?
I saw an opportunity to fast-track a promotion. Sod decky learner, I had my eyes on the top prize.
Let's make this interesting.
You're going to wear
I'll play
that?
you for the hat.
Eh?
Who gets to captain this boat? If I win, I take over the boat.
Right,
If you win, you get to wear the hat.
right.
This was mutiny on the Bakewell tart.
Come on, seagulls!
This is the scarer. I reckon.
Oh, Mary Berry. Mutiny on the Bakewell had failed, but I decided to up the anchovy, because if just one gull stuck his beak into my fishy treat, I could take over, turn us round, and head for home.
Scaring the shit out of them.
Oh, go on, mate, go on! Oh. That's it, the seagull scarer, mate.
Yes.
It's infallible. It is infallible. It's incredible.
I wear this hat with pride.
With Captain Fishstick safely at the helm, our final haul was upon us, and it was more fish ching. Sort 'em, gut 'em, wash 'em, store 'em. I knew the routine by now. It was just a bloody endurance test. But after 3 good hauls, at least we were in with a chance of making some money at the auction.
Okay, Richard, that's it. It's the washer off. This is the last basket of fish going down. Be put on ice. That's it. The fishing part is done. Stop the clocks. A mere 16-hour shift.
Our nets were up for good. All that remained was the long commute home, and apart from some seagull congestion, the traffic wasn't too bad. The end was in sight. As Captain Fishstick joined me on the bow and rubbed my aching nipples, I felt king of the world, woo-hoo. We'd done what we could fishing-wise, now it was down to me in the auction to sell what I could, fish-wise.
For all today has been huge graft, total uncertainty. To lie here and watch dolphins as we go home. I have to say, for one day only, I don't care what I get paid. I'll take that as my paycheck. Left at 5 a.m. this morning. It's getting on for 9 o'clock at night now. That is a long day. Certainly the next time I'm tucking into a fish and chip, I think I'll spare a thought for people who are out here all day, possibly all night, possibly without getting any money for it. Come rain, come shine, come wind, snow. It's not like many other jobs. What do your family think about you fishing?
They hate it.
They hate it?
Yeah.
That would have been a hell of a moment for you to slide over this bump at the end. Beautiful sunset, John goes over the side.
I'm away an awful lot. I'm here a lot more than I'm at home, and you know, I miss a lot of my kids growing up. Well, when we're in now, I should be straight to bed. I'll be up again at 3:30 in the morning, and I'll be out doing it all again. And I'll be doing that for the next 6 days, and then I'll get home.
So you'll do 6 days, go home for a sort of day and a half, come back and do it all again?
Yeah. All year.
All year. I don't suppose in this weather every day.
It's like this every day. I wouldn't mind it quite as much.
As we bobbed back into Brixham, I was completely lobstered, but we still had to unload all the ruddy fish. And as our catch was taken off to market, I said goodbye to my wonderful partners in brine.
Come on. Thanks very much for having me.
It's different, wasn't it?
Hard day. What would you estimate for a decky learner like me from that day? Just as a guess. I know we won't know till tomorrow, till we've sold the stuff in the auction.
If you had 10% on that, I reckon you'll get around about 70 quid.
70 quid for
Around,
today.
I reckon.
70
You'll have
quid.
to see how well you do at the auction.
Yeah, the dolphins. Can I have that memory, or are you going to take that off?
No,
Are you going to take that out my wages?
No, you can have a dolphin.
I can have it. I can have keep the memory. Can I?
In just 5 hours, they'd be doing it all again, and I certainly wouldn't be joining them. But 6 a.m. next morning, I owed it to them to get to market and get the best price I could for our catch.
Looking at this fish now, it feels very strange. I feel really protective of it, and I really want to get the best price I can for this. I've been on a bloody boat. I have done it, and that's mine. These traders have come from all over the country to buy here today, and if they want it, they're going to have to pay for it.
As our auction approached, Barry gave me some last-minute tips.
Just remember, these are here to get this from you for
Lowest
nothing.
price they can, yeah.
Lowest price they can. All right?
Well, it's not going to happen.
No, all right, I'll see you in a bit.
Not going to happen, Barry.
Starting with the Jerry Ansey, we saved the best till last, ladies and gentlemen.
It's going on, it's beautiful. We worked hard yesterday. 17 bloody hours on a shitty trawler. You ponce here from London. None of you have even been on a bloody boat. Come on, £3.
I'll give you £3.
I'd been desperate not to let my team down, and I wasn't. I was converting all the money fish into money, and more importantly, not getting mugged by the bidding sharks.
Gentleman in the white coat. A mixer haddock there. Fantastic monkfish. Beautiful mix with stabs and lemons. What a mix. Come on, I caught these with my fair hand.
I'd survived. What's more, we'd had a good day, and I'd have earned about 70 quid. But for a decky learner, the figures made you seasick. 18 hours at sea, a 1 in 14 chance of drowning, and on a bad day, you wouldn't even make enough to get yourself fish and chips. If you wanted mushy peas, you'd have to do overtime.
He's bidding from China there. Big call from China on bidding on 5 mackerel.